Hey everyone, great to see you. And aside from my birthday, Christmas, and maybe Halloween, my fourth favorite day of the year is the Top Chef Canada new season announcement day. So I thought to kick it off, we would chat with my friend and judge of the show, Mijune Pak. Hello, Mijune.
Hi, I'm so excited you love us as much as we love us.
I'm really, really excited about this season. I think yet again, after seeing the unveiling of the cast or the chef competitors, it's once again quite a diverse set of chefs.
Absolutely, we are super proud of that, and there's so much talent to celebrate across Canada, and we're hoping that we've represented everything.
And I think you've done a really good job. One of the things that I'm really excited about this year is that there's finally a chef from Winnipeg on the show. There hasn't been a chef from Winnipeg since season one, and that was almost 10 years ago.
Which is crazy because I wasn't even on the show 10 years ago. So I haven't even seen a Winnipeg chef at all on the show. So yeah, it's great that we have Emily. Yeah, there we go. It's great that we have Emily from Winnipeg. I've actually been to Deer and Almond, and my first time in Winnipeg was only, let's say, maybe 3, 4 years ago.
Mhm.
So I was really excited to see some representation from them.
No, definitely. I think it is really, really exciting. And so, this year, obviously, everything is so different because the pandemic is still requires a lot of restrictions, especially in terms of filming. So, was there ever a point when you thought you wouldn't be able to film this season?
I really trust Insight and our producers, and Erica, our producer, really put our health and safety first as well as the crews. So, everybody was valued equally. And he made sure that all the T's were crossed, all the I's were dotted. Like, honestly, I felt so protected. It was crazy. Like, the amount of effort they put in to make sure that we were going to be safe and that we could actually film a successful season was incredibly admirable.
Can you talk a little bit about what it was like to film sort of in a bubble?
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. I know there was a lot of back and forth talk about what would happen, how if filming would even proceed, what that would look like, and because Insight is, one of the top production companies, they really wanted to set like a good example. We had like an 86-page handbook of kind of safety protocols that were going to take place during filming. Personally, I was tested every 3 days, which, yeah, I mean, it was aggressive, definitely for sure. And because COVID kind of starts here, we were tested every 3 days. So I didn't have to do the one that goes all the way up the nose. I just had to do the like small one that goes up here. Because then you can catch it early when you're getting tested so often, right? So I mean, the precautions they took, I don't even know how they did it. There was so much manpower at the same time working with the skeleton staff so that it wasn't overcrowded anywhere. It was crazy. Like all the rooms were sanitized. It's like everything was left 72 hours before it even touched our plates. There was someone constantly going around sanitizing the railings, the like anything that we touched, our phones, everything. Yeah.
Everything's being cleaned all the time. One thing that I'm assuming will be different this season, we can't talk too much about the challenges, is that I'm assuming the chefs probably don't venture outside of the Top Chef Canada kitchen much because of COVID, I would assume. And in the press release this morning, they did mention that Restaurant Wars is not happening this year. It's called Takeout Wars instead. So were you sad that you couldn't have Restaurant Wars? Because to me, that is almost the highlight of the season typically.
We actually have done one of the takeout wars before. Do you remember? I think it was season 5 when we did All Stars.
Hmm.
There was kind of that takeout when it was kind of inside
Well,
McEwen
now I
Food.
don't remember, and I feel bad, but I believe you.
No, no, that's okay. I'm jolting your memory. And so we had that kind of takeout wars. And of course, I love restaurant wars, but I think it really applies to still what's going on because when we filmed it, we weren't sure what was going to happen by the time we rolled the show out. Like we were thinking in spring, well, mostly the producers. I go out there and do my thing, but they were thinking like, what's going to happen? Is this still going to be happening? Is there still going to be a lockdown? Da 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 da. But regardless, Takeout Wars was really relatable, and it's kind of still what a lot of restaurants are faced with in terms of challenges during this whole pandemic. So I thought it was a really current challenge and applicable still to what's happening right now.
Hmm. No, absolutely. Well, I mean, takeout is totally, you're right. That is, that is the movement, and sometimes that's the only option for a lot of major Canadian cities still. So I think that is a good move, and will seem very timely. So, now you're a few years in with the show as a judge. What has changed over the past few years for you as a judge? Do you find that you approach things differently, or do you just feel more in the groove these days, or what?
I was like, what's changed my weight?
Mine too over the years. That just happens.
Yeah, exactly. What's changed? I think definitely I've been with this show. I think this is going to be my fourth year with the
Hmm.
show, which thank you guys so much for keeping us on and for being supportive of my role in it as well. Um, Personally, I think there's like definitely a shift in like a confidence in terms of in the first season. And as it goes by, you kind of understand the pressures of what the chefs are going through. You take in considerations the circumstances, the difficulties of the challenges, and the difficulties of the competition overall. And so many chefs that leave our show still say it's the hardest thing that they've done in their life.
Hmm.
So it's like knowing that it's the hardest thing that they've done in their life, you really put that into context and to try to give like better feedback. And then you also get super spoiled though. I mean, every season it's just like the talent keeps like the bar keeps getting raised and you keep thinking about other dishes. Like, oh, I remember when so and so cooked that. And some of those dishes like still live in my head. Like the beloved Jin Hee.
Hmm.
Some of her
Jenny Lee. We
dishes
do love
will
Jenny here
stay
in Calgary.
flavor.
Yes.
Yeah, Jin Hee. She's a chef from Calgary who just opened her own restaurant, I think,
Hmm.
during the pandemic. So congratulations to her. It's great to see our alumni continue and be so successful in their own businesses and goals. And so having her on the show, sometimes I still think of like some amazing dishes, and if someone tries to do something Korean or something that she's done before, I remember like that one was better. It's hard not to compare them easy because it's like she's not competing this season.
Absolutely. And one thing that is, well, there's many interesting things about the cast this year, but one
Yeah.
thing there I noticed, there's a married couple on the show.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. It's so funny because you're like reminding me of so many things because again, we shot this
So long
back in
ago, right? Yeah.
fall. Yeah, fall
Hmm.
2020. And although not much has changed in terms of the global pandemic, I kind of like forgot. I was like, oh my gosh, who's competing again? And I know that they released the cast, the full list of all our
Hmm.
competitors, but it actually kind of slipped my mind until you were like, this person, this person. It's like, oh yeah, yeah, that's really interesting. I remember when I even saw, I was like, "What?" I was like, "Can we even do that? Like, how is that gonna work?"
I feel like you're pretty competitive by nature. Would you compete with a spouse on national television? I don't think I would.
You know what? Like, I probably would. Like, hopefully, it would be like a good spouse, so then I know, like, okay, like regardless if I
Hmm.
win or you win, it's all coming back to the
Yeah.
same house. But I mean, ooh, it feels good to win.
I would be more worried
Like,
about any problems that might arise after filming with the interview audio. Like, what if you said something about your wife's or husband's dish that wasn't good, and the way they clip it after, maybe you get in trouble at home.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like there's definitely got to be like, but I mean, how they edit on the show, I think is very fair and very authentic. And if we were a super kind of like catty show that likes to twerk all the, of like edit it like crazy and stuff like that, then I'd be really worried. But we're Top Chef Canada, so generally everything is like, really clean and super fun.
Hmm. And one other thing that I think is really important to mention is that this season has the first non-binary Top Chef contestant for in the history of the franchise. I can't speak for the American version, but for Canada, it definitely is the first. Kym Nguyen from Vancouver, who's a sous chef at Pigeon.
Absolutely. It's huge. I actually didn't know Kim
Hmm.
in Vancouver, and I've eaten at Pigeon a handful of times, and it was kind of embarrassing that when I saw it's like, oh, Kim, and then I was like, who's Kim? And it's like Pigeon. I was like, what? Vancouver? Like, where is she? How come I've never met her before? And I think she actually worked at Wildebeest before. So I have ran into her there. We're super proud to have her on the show and it's super talented.
Well, I think it's really important to showcase diversity, not just in, terms of backgrounds geographically, but also, sexual identity and everything involved with that. So I think that that's a really amazing thing to see this season. And I hope she does well. I do notice, I was looking at her resume and her pedigree seems to be quite good. So I think, if I was a betting man, I might place some bets on her. And yeah, the cast this year, it's really interesting. So I'm really excited to watch.
They all have such interesting histories and they come from such different backgrounds. And, I can't give anything away, but I really hope that we'll see that in the food that they bring.
hmm Oh, I'm sure we will. And last but not least, there's a lot of competitors, but Galassa Aden, who was formerly the chef at Calgary's Dean House, I was excited to see him on the competitors list as well. He's now moved to Panorama, BC. It's always interesting too. So yeah, so he's moved. So my point with this, I'll just show a picture of him here, is the chefs don't always end up at the same place that they were at when they were filming. And I noticed a few of the chefs now that is the situation. He's one of them. So he's at this now beautiful mountain resort restaurant. So I think it'll be interesting to see what kind of food he brings to that restaurant. Because, that part of BC could definitely use a bit of, more forward thinking cuisine, I think.
Definitely. I mean, I'm embarrassed again. I didn't even hear about Cliffhanger Restaurant. So it's like this is amazing. And I'm glad to have him on my local turf. So maybe I can venture out there if it's safe.
Well, here's to traveling sometime soon. Mijune, I know Top Chef Canada premieres on April 19th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's 8 for me, 7 for you. And I'm really looking forward to watching it. Will you be hosting any viewing parties or anything in Vancouver? Because restaurants are open there.
The restaurants are open. We still have to keep in our bubble and whatnot.
hmm
I think it would be cool if we even did some lives. Maybe we could do some lives like after the show or
Oh,
whatnot, or even do like a virtual live during the. I don't know how that's gonna work, but there's so many things that we can do, and I'm having a lot of fun, kind of like being in my pajamas at home.
yeah. No, me too. I mean, don't get me wrong. I definitely put a shirt on, but like, am I wearing pants? Who's to know?
Oh my God, I literally got ready like 10 minutes ago. I'm definitely in my pajama pants.
Well, I won't keep any more. Don't take up any more of your time. It's always great to chat with you and see you. And I'm just so excited for this season to kick off, and I'm sure it's gonna get a lot of buzz. And again, kind of bring attention to a whole new crop of Canadian chefs because I think that Canada could use some diversity and use some. Canada's not always great at celebrating itself, so I feel like shows like this really do help push young chefs to the forefront. I think that that's one really great thing about it.
Thanks, Dan. I just want to give like you a huge thank you. You've been so supportive of me and of the show literally every single season. And we noticed that. And thanks for celebrating the chefs with us and just all the talent that we have in Canada. It really means a lot to us and them.
Great. Well, we look forward to watching April 19th, Food Network Canada.
Yay.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Bye.
Mijin. Bye.
Thank you.